So the floor is yours, sir.
Salute, salute. All right, salute to everybody. We got to, well, actually, big bro, you got to pray us in, my man. You got to pray us in.
Will do, sir. Uh, let's bow our heads. Thank you, Father, for this time for us to share amongst each other, for open hearts and minds, our thoughts and feelings and beliefs, for no judgmental views going on. Just allow us to speak freely with power. Guide this session, make it a session that we all enjoy. And when we do end the session, we say, that was good, good discussion. So keep this technology working for us all. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
All right, salute, salute. Here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to get out of the intro. We ain't going to go through the whole intro because I really want to make this like, I want to have enough time to actually do everything. But for the first time today, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time today, the kings and queens, the higher power, God, the Most High Himself, has blessed us with a female on the panel, with a woman, an intelligent woman, the knowledge and the intellect of a real woman, a real higher learning. So actually today, I want to pick her brain. I want to hear her speak. They've heard us speak. We can throw different things at her and let's see what we get because I'm excited, I'm excited. So as far as spirituality, okay. This is the one I call Sister Cuz. You know Sister Cuz?
Yeah, you're on mute.
I'm here. Greetings, greetings, greetings.
Okay. Sister Cuz, sage or more gifted. Why don't we go ahead and introduce ourselves and give the world a little bit of this knowledge that God gave you, sister?
Greetings to everyone. Peace, love, and blessings. Of course, I go by Sage Amore with Sage Amore Gifted at sageamorgifted.com. Just opening up individuals' minds to a higher level of thinking, consciousness, awareness, being mindful, being open to receiving information of the divine that is actually finding their journey and their purpose, whatever it is that they're destined to find, what it is they're seeking, what it is they're looking for. That's my calling. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, now when you say spiritual calling, when you say for people to open their minds, we know we're talking supernatural, we know we're talking spiritual. Are we talking from a religious standpoint? Or are we talking just complete spirituality?
For me, I work completely based off spirituality. I completely remove religion from out of everything that I do because one, you have to be mindful and keep in mind, everyone come from a different religious background. So in order to direct and connect from everyone from different parts of life or just their religious background or however they grew up or how they were programmed, what to believe in or what it is they're seeking to find, a lot of times they get lost in their self. They don't know who their true self is because they've been programmed for so long on a religious thought, on a religious belief, what has been forced upon them versus trusting their own self, their own intuition within. So I like to lead everything by just straight spiritual practices, removing religion out of it because religion and spirituality are two completely different things.
Okay, now Big Bro Arnell, I'm pretty sure that this is something you can attest to. Um, where do you stand with what you just heard?
Yeah. First of all, my name from my parents is Arnell. My enslaved name in this country is Hill, and then I found out last year that I have another enslaved name named Allard. So that's my American history. But to address her comments, I agree. I understand that I was programmed for 8 years in a Catholic school system And that was my foundation of what I believed in as far as spiritual beliefs. I left that environment for about 30 years, got involved in a religion, a Baptist type religion, and that began to program me also. But I didn't feel comfortable in that environment. I've been questioning things for the past 5 years, and I'm trying to deprogram myself what I've been taught and just freely think like Sister has just expressed about my spirituality. I don't want to be a label. I don't want to be called a Baptist, Catholic, or anything. I want to be spiritual and not have labels pushed out on me. So I'm trying to reprogram my mind to just think freely and ask questions freely. That's where I'm coming from right now.
Yes, sir. Big bro, and I share and echo that sentiment as well. Um, now from my views, from my standpoint, I 110% agree with the both of you. How do we separate? How do we get people to understand that there's a difference between being religious and being spiritual? I always tell people that religious denominations create a cap for you. It creates a certain level you cannot rise above, and it creates a certain belief system that you have to stay within. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to agree with you spiritually, but religiously, because you've been programmed that way, you got to go with this because now that they've put that fear in you, you know. So, Sister Sage are more gifted, okay? And y'all, this is family right here. This is my sister, cuz this is family. All right. This is Mr. Uncut family right here. So, Sage are more gifted. Can you pick up from there and let us know how do we differentiate between religion and spirituality, the difference of and what it takes?
First, one must be able to have an open mind and an open heart. This is a journey. This is a path that has already been written for us. And we go through things not understanding it at first because all we see is the current situations that we're going in. We're not able to see, our purpose or why we're going through certain things. So first, we must have an open mind and be willing, ready, and wanting to get to that point to figure out who thyself truly is. Because we always feel like something's missing, something's just not right. It doesn't settle in. And then when you start to ask those questions, that's when you start to open up and you start, question yourself just certain things on just your belief, your perspective, how you're feeling, things that they may say to you religiously, you may not agree with. And you're going to feel it within yourself to know, no, something don't seem right. Or I don't feel like I agree to this. But a lot of times we don't open up and speak on it because why? We feel like that fear has been put in us, to believe one way. And that's the only way, So without judgment, when you're moving in spirituality, with spirituality, there are no structure level. No one is better than anyone. Everyone that is moving on a spiritual realm, on a spiritual note, they're looking past the physical. They're looking past just the things. With spirituality, it doesn't take away from your religious belief because you can have a religious belief. You can have multiple religious beliefs based off what you believe religiously. But I personally feel like religion has been altered so much that it divides. Our emotions take over us having an open mind to be able to fully connect spiritually. So everyone's not going to be ready to just wake up and find their purpose or want to know their purpose. Everyone's not going to be ready at the same time. And for a lot of individuals, they're only meant to get so far. Then again, there could be blockages holding you back. But one must be ready to find out what it is that they're seeking, what they're missing to fulfill their self. And that comes with starting with having an open mind and an open heart to receive the information to put in the work because moving in spirituality, it is not an easy task. It is
Not at
not an
all.
easy journey. It is very challenging. You are still going to have challenges that are going to come your way, but it's about working through those challenges because going through those challenges, it helps to elevate you, to push you by force to get where you need to be. Sometimes we can run so much from our gifts and our callings because we're afraid, or you know what I'm saying, we don't want to, tap into certain things, or we don't want to unlock that door. We don't want to walk through that door because of fear. And sometimes when it comes to the divine and how it works, you can't go on your own free will because it will happen by force. If it's destined for you, everything that happens to you is not because it's just bad. It's not happening to punish you because you did something wrong. Things can happen to push you by force, to elevate you, to get you to the next level where you're supposed to be.
For me, I found that religion is a lot of rules. And some are man-made rules that are put into place, sometimes to control, I think, our thoughts and behavior. And I think religion, to me, sets up borders between us and fences, so we just cannot communicate sometimes based on our denomination. That's always bothered me. Now, being spiritual to me is more or less openness. For me, it's not getting emotional about somebody else's opinion. Just I just want to listen to what they're saying, not get emotional and upset about their viewpoint not matching mine, because I believe you have to listen to the other person's viewpoint, maybe learn from them, and vice versa. It's a dialogue going back and forth. And I agree with the sister that it's got to be an open type system of communication between you and somebody else. And for me, being spiritual, it's more like growth. You're always growing. You're learning more and more as you go
Right.
along. And I think being spiritual, you allow for questions to be asked of yourself and somebody else. You don't judge them with their response, just listen and try to learn. But for me, I think being spiritual is also understanding that my truth is not your truth. So I can't place, my truth upon you two and say, well, you're wrong. I can't address, your life experiences. So I got to understand that your walk is different and respect that. And
Mhm.
for me, that's part of being spiritual, that you respect other person's journey. And that's my response, sir.
And see what we all share in common here. Our common ground is the fact that at least we can hold this dialogue. We can share our opinions. We can put how we feel out there amongst each other because we respect the basis of at least having a spiritual foundation. And it's kind of like fighting racism. In order to fight racism, you must first admit that there's racism. You're going to find some people that's for it. You're going to find some people that's against it. You've got to find those people who fit into that little small circle who believe the same thing you believe, because there's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of us out there. Now, granted, things happen in life to where we're raised to be Baptists, we're raised to believe certain things. Our parents can only do the best they can with the knowledge that they had and have by passing it down to us. Doesn't mean it's correct, doesn't really mean it's incorrect. It means they were doing the best they can with what they had to work with. Now, with that being said, certain things happen in your life. And how they say, many are called, but few are chosen. Many are called to be religious, but only a few are chosen to be spiritual people. Spiritual people. And it takes an extra special strength. It takes an extra special understanding to break down the physicalities of spirituality versus religion, because truthfully, religion can destroy you. Religion can destroy us. Religion can destroy us. Sis, you want to tap in from there?
Yeah, I most definitely agree that with spirituality, what makes it so special and sacred that a lot of people don't understand, they don't have understanding to, because they fear what they don't know. And when you fear what you don't know or you lack knowledge of, it immediately puts judgment immediately to, stereotype, just spirituality in general before even knowing. And with spirituality, there is no right or wrong.
Right.
We're all leading spirituality, I feel, brings together, it unites. Because when you talk about spirituality, any spiritual individual that you speak to or you speak with, they're going to be tapped in. You're going to be able to have those deep conversations without judgment, without being, put down or being said, oh, you're going to be, sent to hell. Everybody quick to send you to hell, or wherever. They just look at it as overall is wrong. But if you don't trust yourself, how do you know you're wrong? If you never take a chance, step out on faith. You have to lead by faith, not by sight. The same way you can walk outside just because someone else see that the sky purple. It might be blue or green to them because their vision of it is differently. They're perceiving it and receiving things differently. But with spirituality, you're able to still get to the same place. With religion, a lot of times when people get together to discuss religious conversations, it never, I feel, I have not seen where no one has ever not gotten in their feelings or they let their emotions get involved and it turns into an altercation. It turns into miscommunicating because now they have automatically put up these walls to block their mind from being open because they're set and standing only on what they have been programmed of teachings rather than trusting their self. When you bring a group of spiritual individuals, you're able to communicate and share different things because with spirituality, it's about sharing knowledge. You don't hold everything to yourself. If we're building to get something to a greater point for a greater purpose, you're not holding and keeping information to yourself being selfish or inconsiderate. Like you're sharing it, you're teaching. You're giving out that information. You're sharing it amongst each other to spread the word. Whatever that is on the path that you're called to take. And everybody's path is different. But we're all trying to get to the same way. We're just taking different routes to get there.
Nicely put. Nicely put. Big bro Arnell, I'm gonna direct this next question to you. And then sis, if you can just piggyback after Big Bro, that would be great. Big Bro, what I want to ask you is how can I put this? How can I put this? How can I put it? I had the question. We talk about it all the time. Um, Goodness, my mind just went blank on me. My mind just went blank on me. Can you hold a conversation with religious people? Is it possible? Like we can still be spiritual, we can still be religious, you can still be woke and conscious. Can you physically hold a conversation with okay, now I remember what I was saying. Can you hold a conversation with a religious person? And no one throws the biggest attitudes, no one extends the biggest judgment than those of an organized cult called religion. These religious leaders, here it is. How do you know when you've outgrown your religious leaders? There's the question. Big bro.
Okay. First of all, on the having a conversation with someone who's religious, we both tried that about 3 weeks ago, and I'm going to try again tomorrow with that same person to have a conversation, okay, and try to stay unemotional. But it was a hurtful conversation with this person. This person got upset with what Quincy and I were expressing just from the heart, and after that conversation, I felt bad. I just felt like I was beaten down just because I expressed and asked some questions of this person. And it was just, to me, it just proved the point that religious people, there is no room with them for any openness. It's like they've been taught a certain way. If they get off that track, they feel I guess they're being a traitor to their faith. But, but to try to address your question about the leadership, that to me is hard because they've been programmed to think a certain way and to go off that track, I have seen no one yet who can honestly get off that track of what they've been taught to open up their mind to, to just hear what somebody's saying and say, well, maybe you got a point there. It's always they turn to a scripture and they quote this and say, here's what that means. Like it's one way, black and white. And it's just to me, I don't see any hope if you're in a religion that you can come out of that mode unless you just open yourself up to understanding that maybe you're not 100% right. And that's the best way I can explain that. But again, we're going to try tomorrow, have a chat with our friends, see how that goes. So you know how it goes. Okay. I'll let you know.
Best of luck to you. I'm not ready to feel less than equal again yet, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay in the shadows on that one. You know, I'm gonna stay over here on my side. I'm gonna stay on my side. I do believe that we can outgrow our spiritual leaders. Right before I get the floor to Sage and more gifted, I do believe that we can outgrow our religious leaders. I believe that we have a higher spiritual understanding and assessment than our religious leaders. And one of the things that I hold dear the most on my spiritual journey is the fact that I don't have to put that trust in a human being. I don't have to go through those rituals. I don't have to hope that they're going to text back. I don't have to hope that, okay, I'm walking spiritual. I get my one on one. I get my one on one with my higher power. That's how I fellowship. I don't have to show up to a building, give 10%, listen to what this human is saying. As soon as this human gets upset with you, he's going to be all in his feelings. He or she could be all in their. We've experienced this, big bro. We've experienced this. We are more open-minded because we come from a higher learning, a higher calling, a higher understanding. We come from something that God himself has manifested us to do. Sage and more gifted. Let's get it. Tap in.
Yes, sir. Now, on this one, I hold very deep. And a lot of times, as spiritual individuals, we lead by our experiences, not by what the man has given you to say that you have authority to do something. When we talk about outgrowing our spiritual leaders, a few signs. Now, again, everything is destined to be a certain way to get us to a certain point. So at that point in time when you started with that individual, your religious leader, whether it's your pastor, your teacher, your minister, your bishop, whatever it is, at that point when you started the journey or the process with them, it was to help you to get to a certain point, a certain place on your journey. But this is then when things start to shift and we open up our eyes, when we start noticing, let's say, shots being thrown
Right.
or those hidden
Right.
subliminal and invisible punches are being thrown, but yet they want you to hold your tongue. You're not supposed to speak. So when an individual starts to see that one of those that are under them, that they're teaching, that they're supposed to be teaching, and just like, for anyone who has kids, you want your children to be better than you. As a parent, to make sure you have been successful, you want your children to be better than you. You're going to push them to do better than you. You're going to try to protect them to not do the things that you did because you know the outcome of it. So you're going to try to spare them. The same way you should do with your members or your congregation. You want to elevate them, push them, teach them all that you know to be better than you. But this is where then religion gets twisted, because at the end of the day, it still turns into what? A business.
It's a business. It's a
This is where
capital.
a lot of people run away from the church or whatever organization of religion beliefs they are. Because why? It turns into a hierarchy. It turns into literally where it's based off seniority. And if we're speaking, let's just because it's one of the common, let's just use Christianity for one of them. You can be with one church. You slowly work your way up that ladder by seniority. But if you leave that church and you go to another church, what happens? You start all
all the way
over.
over.
Right. But with spirituality, this is why when I said in the beginning, with spirituality, there is no anyone better than the next, because why? We all have gifts. Our gifts are different. There is no structural level. Just because someone has been doing it for 20 years and someone's been doing it for 2 days, with spiritual individual, there's no competition or competing against, oh, well, I'm better than you because I had this degree or this piece of paper. See, with spirituality, we're able to trust within ourselves, where religion can turn to when that pastor or that leader see that you have something over your life, because why? They're using their gifts. They have gifts as well. It's not what you have, is what you do with them. It's how you use them. And then when they see that calling in you and you're wakening up and you're tapping into your higher self, they find it intimidating. So then what happens? They want you to put all your trust and faith and belief in them rather than the Most High, the way that it's supposed to. Why are we worshiping man when it's within ourselves?
Correct.
As the great chief always told me, I don't need help to get to hell. I can get there by myself.
Correct.
So you don't need no one to follow anyone to tell you, or it gets so to the point where religious leaders want you to be codependent on them, where no matter what it is, they want you to not be able to figure things out yourself. They want you to rely on them. They want to hold you, because why? That's just like if they heal you, they fix you, and you take off, you walk away. Guess what? Them tithes and offerings not coming in. Their money's not
Exactly.
coming in. They're not doing a lot of, and this is not for all of them. It's not bashing, anybody's religion and beliefs, but from past experiences, being, front line in it, seeing it for myself, it comes about turning from doing the right thing, leading people the right way, to about holding and being in power and control. See, anybody can go to school and learn how to do something, get training and know how to do something.
Yeah, that's called a trade.
That's given to you.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not mean, that means you're certified, you're licensed, but that does not mean that you have been ordained and called upon by the Most High of the calling of your life to actually do something. Let's use hairstylists. Everybody, they can go to cosmetology school, finish, get their paper. That means what? They're certified, they're licensed. But that don't mean they all know how to do hair.
Right.
The same way, just because you go to pastoral ministry or, engineering or anything, it does not mean that you're good at what you do, because why? You were not called to do it. Or what happens, those gifts that you have been given, because you have abused them and used them the incorrect way, everything then begins to backfire on you.
Right.
So there's multiple ways of how it works when I feel like it comes to religion and you're outgrowing your spiritual leaders.
The difference is right now that what people should be getting from this, and the difference that they should be intercepting here, is that religion gets you excited to die. Don't get me excited to die. I'm still living right now. A pastor should be something like a life coach, a mentor. Get me excited to live. You see what I'm saying? Bless me. Let me be happy while I'm here, because I'm only going to live once. Don't expect me to come, listen to everything you've got to say, give you my money, and go off like everything's okay, because A, you're just as imperfect as I am. B, you probably been married 2 or 3 different times in life. C, you've gone through some things. We're human. So I'm not going to put that same trust in you to where I'm going to feel like my life is saved through the words that you're speaking. Don't get me excited to die. With spirituality, it's an excitement to live, because you're constantly elevating. It's a journey. It's a journey. And when you close your eyes for good, guess what? You complete that journey. You've got to be the best version of you that you can be before God calls you home. And I'm sorry, there's a cap on religion. There's a cap, but there's no cap on me being the best person I could be spiritually before God calls my spirit home. Big bro, you got anything you want to say about that?
Okay, yeah. In my past experience in an organized church, I realized that there was a human power structure at work where, the pastor was the one in control, and what the pastor says goes, and there was no room to question things, and if you
The
did
women
question
run the
things,
church, big bro. The women run the church, big bro,
oh, yeah,
because they control the finances. So the pastor is going to be the
yeah,
head, and he's going to give the women control of the church because the women control the money at home. They're going to control the churches money. They're the breadwinners. That's
yeah,
why
and that's
women
what I
have so much
saw,
power in the churches. Yes, sir.
and that's what I saw. There were a lot of women who were in control of, I guess, various ministries. I noticed that right away, and when I tried to question some things being done in that church, I was called rebellious. Just trying to arrange to have a discussion about things, I was called rebellious. So it kind of there was no room for freedom of expression. I found out, and as far as going to church, during COVID, you didn't go to church, and I grew up spiritually during COVID more than when I was inside a church. Personally, I learned more on my own by just reading and understanding things on my own. So I just think this organized religions, to me, is just a structure that's been created in this country that we just following because we've been taught to do things a certain way. And I think we got to think openly and freely, like we're trying to discuss tonight.
Okay. My next question to you both. Um, how do you feel now that you're spiritually tapped in and your understanding is more enhanced? Do you feel more free? Do you feel more open? Do you feel more saved? Do you feel deprogrammed and reprogrammed? Or do you feel like you're stepping into something that you're not foundationally sure of yourself? Like, does spirituality agree with you two more than religion? Do you feel more freedom practicing spirituality?
I'll tap in on that most definitely. When you start your journey, like I say, it's something that triggered you to wake up. It takes sometimes something what we feel at that moment traumatic to happen to us to wake up. And the moment we start tapping in and asking those questions, because when you're there, one thing we have to understand, solitude is never a bad thing. Solitude is more than what we just think of when we're here. See, solitude really means connecting, tuning in, taking that time because number one, you're never alone.
Meditation.
You're never alone. No matter what it is that you believe, you're going to have your ancestors covering. You're going to have your spirit guides, your sacred ones, the most high. Whatever it is that you believe on your spiritual journey, you know that you are covered. You are never alone. Don't ever see being in solitude or being alone as a bad thing. Use that to your advantage. And one thing with spirituality, for you to be comfortable, once you open up and you start to realize that you are at free will to express all those feelings and ask those questions freely. And here it is, to somebody else, they don't know what you're going on. Here it is, to the outside, they may think that you're talking to yourself. But guess what? You're not. You're talking to your sacred ones that surround you, your spirit, your higher self. You're speaking to your spirit. Your spirit is then connecting that information to your soul, which is connected to the divine, the most high. So when you are able to feel that, you're able to feel free. You're able to have that safe space to know that there is no judgment. You can ask those questions freely. And what'll
Mm-hmm.
happen? You'll receive those messages, whether it's, through someone else, whether it's something that glances through on an image or if you pick up a book or, watching TV, you are able to receive messages in ways that you have never ever thought you would before. And it brings a sense of freedom. Where religion, you feel locked down because there are so many rules. With spirituality, there is no right or wrong. It's trusting thy higher self and knowing who you are. Be
Well,
free.
I like that. Big bro Arnell.
And for me, being spiritual, it makes me feel it's okay to talk to somebody else who's not in the same denomination as I may have been. I feel like it's okay now. I don't have to stand behind my fence or my border and say I can't talk to them because they're the evil people. They don't believe what I believe. And I've dropped that kind of a viewpoint. To me, I want to learn and understand why do they think the way they do. It can help me maybe grow also as a spiritual person. So to me, it's an openness to just have the open gate and walk through that gate to learn from them about their walk and their journey and to make me a better person. So I'm trying to just continue that journey and just open my mind, don't be judgmental, just try to talk to other people, just a quiet discussion like we're doing right now. Don't get upset. They say something that I don't understand, I don't believe from the past. Just say, ask them, why do you say that? Let them explain it and not get upset about the answer. That's where I'm at now. I just want to know, why do you think what you think? I'm in the why phase to me.
As for me,
And then
oh, go ahead, Sage more.
I was gonna say, like, I definitely feel like it should be a safe space. It shouldn't have to feel complicated. We shouldn't have to feel isolated or put down or belittled or, like 2-year-old children, like we're being punished because we did something wrong. Ask questions. A closed mouth don't get fed. If you hungry, you gotta speak and say you're hungry. If
See,
you
but
want to
now
make more money, you have to speak it.
you're right, but we're
Um,
going to be looked at as demons now. We're going to be looked at as demons now because like I heard you say, Christians believe one thing. If it's not the whole Jesus concept and the whole resurrection, then you're going to hell. But these are questions that I want to ask for higher learning. Here it is. And here's where we blow the roof off right here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to blow the roof off of this live right here. Okay. If Jesus was the foundation behind Christianity, if Jesus was indeed real, then why do they have so many blockages in the way? What I mean by blockages is Easter is supposed to be what? Representing the Passover, his rising, correct? So why do you have a damn Easter bunny? Why do you have Easter egg hunts? Isn't that taking the eyes off the prize? You talk about Christmas. Christmas is supposed to be what? A time for atonement, a time for Advent, a time for appreciation, a time of reflection. Some even think that it's his birthday, and it's not, but some believe that. But yet you have a fat white guy who's going to come down your chimney bearing gifts. And I'm supposed to teach my children this concept when you're blocking it out yourself? I mean, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. Look at the gluttony that's about to take place. The doctors are going to love Thanksgiving. The doctors are going to make so much money, just like these pastors are going to make so much money because you're going to go to them with your daily physical woes in life, and then they're able to say something all beautiful and immaculate to you verbally that's going to let you walk away feeling better, but things aren't better. Take it away.
Yeah, I'll comment first on the Easter and Christmas stuff. I think I was told that those were human creations, the Easter Bunny and Christmas. But I don't think those. I hope those are not religious beliefs that people have out there about the Easter Bunny and Christmas. But I don't know. But if there is, somebody educate me. That's somebody's belief that the Easter Bunny exists and about
Why
Christmas
would
also. But
why would it drown Jesus out? If
oh,
Easter's supposed to be a time of
yeah,
recognizing the Passover, the Last Supper, everything else,
yeah.
why would the
Oh,
Cadbury Bunny be drowning Jesus out?
yeah.
Why
That's
would
the power of
old
you. It's the power of humanity. It's powerful out there. What we can do as people, man. We can
these
do all kind
churches
of
are taking
things.
part in Halloween now? Do you know that?
I've heard
Churches
about
are
this.
taking part in Halloween.
oh yeah,
Yeah, trunk or treat, right? Is that what you mean? Trunk or treat?
trunk
That
or
Right,
concept?
but
treat.
we're talking
Yes.
right, Demon Day. But
Hmm, yeah.
we're talking religion, versus spiritual. Spiritual, I'm not feeling that.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling that.
Yeah. They're trying to give people what they want. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do both sides, the spiritual side and the human side, I think, by having that trunk or treat thing. It's just my belief. They're trying to serve two masters at the same time.
Deja Moore, get it to us, sister. Tap in, get it to us.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's programming. It's programming. We see it all the time. Television, programming. Your phones, they're programming. You turn around, there is no child outside playing, getting that sun, running around and connecting with Mother Earth. And, they're what? They're stuck in their electronic devices. They're programming. Reprogramming them and giving them things that, of course, after a while of watching certain things repetitively, subliminally, it comes at you where now it's embedded. You're seeing it, it's all you're thinking about. It's all you're hearing. It's like a record being put on repeat. You hear it for so long, and what happens? If you listen to a sad song, your energy, your feeling, it becomes what? You start feeling sad. You start
It's
feeling
low
those emotions.
vibration. Yeah.
Well, when you tap into something higher where you're listening to something of a positive vibration, a positive frequency to reprogram you differently, we have to detox and cut that off. Put the phones down. You can't believe everything that you see because what's happening, it's an illusion. Everything that's happening is not real. Things are placed there for a reason. To why? For
Divide and
why?
conquer.
To why?
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Take your money, put you back in situations. You'll see certain times of the year. They know when income tax time about to get ready to come around. They know when Christmas time about to come around. What's gonna happen? They're gonna start putting those advertisements out. They're gonna start putting those clips, those flashes of new cars dropping or the new phones coming out. They're gonna play over and over again randomly. Listen it in, capturing on it. You open your phone, the first thing here it is, it's gonna be something that you spoke about. They're going to be grabbing it. So it's the same thing with holidays. Don't get consumed and caught up with things of this world. Things of this actual world that we walk on, it does not matter. What matters is beyond the physical, tapping in spiritually, because there's a lot more that goes on. So for spiritual individuals, while everybody excited about, the spirit of gluttony that's about to come in, and take over. Everybody cholesterol about to go up. Everybody about to, you didn't ate somebody auntie, potato salad you weren't supposed to. What's happening? Hospital rates about to go up. Why? You got food poisoning. Pharmaceuticals about to make their money. It's all a part of their plan. But then you have spiritual individuals that are going to tap in, that's going to sit back. And guess what? They're not having them problems. And then here it is, you can't pay your rent or your car note at the first of the month because why? You didn't spend all your money trying to get the new iPhone that just dropped or trying to keep up with the Joneses. And you know that if you're not able, don't put yourself in a position to suffer. Like you're blocking yourself, you're hindering yourself. You're putting obstacles against yourself. And we can block ourselves a lot of times without even realizing, without knowing it. We have to be mindful of the things that we consume, that we see. Ask questions. Why? If I don't have a chimney in my house, how Santa or the fat white man, you know what I'm saying? How he gonna deliver my gifts? If I got bars on my windows, no chimney, how he gonna get in the house?
And what I need this Christmas tree for, they found Jesus in a manger around animal feces, and he was supposed to be a king. And three kings showed up. Three kings showed up bearing gifts. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? In an animal manger around animal feces. But I'm going to put up a Christmas tree and go buy all these gifts and put myself in debt, buying all this food for Thanksgiving, Christmas stuff, whatever, live beyond my means. And now I'm struggling. Now, religiously, I'm going to wait on God to bless me. And when I was religious, I realized now that I was never blessed. But as soon as I dropped religion and I embraced spirituality, oh, that black cloud was lifted and everything started flowing. Everything. It's almost like practicing a ritual that's getting you nowhere fast. It's like a bad habit, okay? It's like smoking cigarettes. I know what these toxins are doing to my lungs. I know what it's doing to my heart. But right now, it seems soothing. It seems calming to me. You see what I'm saying? There's something therapeutic about it. Now, spiritually, it's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. And that's not something that we should be putting in our bodies and our temples. Spirituality, I know that there's a blessing there. Something's going to happen to where you're going to wake up and you're not going to be the same person. Think about it. There's not a lot of us on earth who don't eat meat. You don't know what those purposes are for vegans and vegetarians, but those are usually your people that's really tapped in and elevated because they know better, therefore they do better. Religion does not teach you that. Spirituality teaches you that. So there's lots of elements I feel that differentiates religion from spirituality. Can a Christian be blessed? Can a Muslim be blessed? Can a Buddhist be blessed? Can a Catholic be blessed? We're all taking different routes to get to the same place. But the important part is to get there. So I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Y'all got the
Yeah,
floor.
I think to me, religion is like going to school. You know, you were taught principles and beliefs that you have to memorize, repeat sometimes, and apply. So to me, religion is like going to school, and there's a culture in a religion you have to follow. Also, certain ways you have to dress, ways you must do things in public. You know, you're taught these things. Also, it's a learning experience. It's like in my lifetime, I went to a school for 18 years in the American system to be taught to be, to me, I call it a nice Negro, but it never took effect as I rebelled against all those things. I realized that I was being trained all those years to become a Black European American. I understand that was the purpose. Wasn't taught anything about my culture in those 18 years. And you all can kind of question.
Indoctrination.
Yeah, I was programmed to think about
Indoctrination.
I'm a European American who's got black skin, so think the way they do. And religion to me is the same thing. You're being taught to think a certain way. If you get off that track, you know, you're rebelling and you're a sinner maybe also. So I think being spiritual, you have more of a freedom to express yourself and ask questions and just try to understand what your purpose could be without the rules saying, you know, no, that's not right. That's my offer right there.
Sage are more gifted. What you got for us?
Most definitely. With spirituality, it's about free will. Again, there is no right or wrong with spirituality. You don't have someone, literally
I think I lost you.
Hope she comes back.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I think we lost her here temporarily.
Yeah, internet.
It's a great conversation, though. And to have
Oh
a
yeah.
woman on a panel with the ability to think free and live free, I mean, that speaks volumes by itself. You and I were thinking we were
Yeah.
alone in this process.
Yeah, it's overdue. You know, I was trying to give their brothers a chance to speak up, but never happened. There
Yeah,
she is. She's back.
okay.
yeah, the enemy at work on that one. um, with spirituality, it's about free will. And see, you even the smallest thing with spirituality, when you start talking about, you'll realize we see beyond just the physical. We'll
Mm-hmm.
notice that's when things start happening. Now we know if we were on the computer about 4 hours ago or even 30 minutes ago, connection was fine, everything running good, volume good. But when you spiritually connecting, you're tapping into more than what is trying to stop the what is it? The man's mission purpose.
So we're gonna get that
Let
interference.
me Oh yeah, like things are going to happen to stop you, to block you. Things are going to happen to derail you from following that path. Things are going to happen to bring you down or not go your way just to discourage you. But see, with spirituality, there is no right or wrong. So you're constantly living in manifestation. If we tap in and understand that we have the power to open our mouths to speak, and even if we bring in religion, it says what? Speaking, you can move mountains.
Uh-huh.
But think about that outside of a religious way. Look at it and think of it spiritually. We have the power within us to make anything happen. All we have to do is have faith, believe, stand in it. No matter how hard it gets, how challenging it gets, pick yourself up. You're going to have moments you're going to fall. Things are going to happen, but it's to elevate you. When we realize that we have the power to manifest greatness within us, there is no worrying about anything. Why are we worrying about things that we can't control?
Exactly.
But you can fix that by changing the things that you can control, which is what? Having an open mind for one, having an open heart for two. You're able to then receive and give with an open, pure heart of pure gratitude. And a lot of times individuals take, and they don't know what it is to give. But when you go through those obstacles of spirituality, you appreciate everything so much more because it's more than you're praising or worshiping the material things. None of that matters to you. All you care about is completing your mission, your journey, finding your purpose.
Do you feel like religion breeds hypocrisy and spirituality breeds a higher elevation? That's kind of deep right there when you think about it. Big bro, what do you think? Do you think
Yeah, I
religion
think
religion
you're.
bursts hypocrisy and the whole spirituality thing it's
Yeah, I think religion to me breeds division because we've got these borders between us and these fences, and these labels as to what we believe in. And to me, we just can't seem to communicate because of those so-called differences in doctrine. That's what I believe.
See, anyone can be religious, but anyone can't be spiritual. You can wake up any day and decide, hey, I need something to believe in. Let me go visit this church. And you're gonna pick a church the same way you pick a doctor. Which one makes you feel good? Which one is gonna talk, which one is gonna sugarcoat this for you? Which one is gonna make you feel comfortable? Which one is gonna warm up to you the most spiritually? You know what I'm saying? For you to want to be comfortable there. But when it comes to actually choosing spirituality over everything and knowing that you can exercise any practice, any belief, you can take this from that, you can take, and put it all together, to put it all together and know, okay, I've got this sewn up. And if I was believing in the wrong thing, then why am I getting blessed? If I'm believing in the wrong thing, then why am I meeting more people who are like me? Who are like me, who are like you, who's like Sage or more gifted. You know, I think we have to break the confines of those chains. And we're going to have lots of religious leaders mad at us because they feel like we're knocking Jesus. They feel like we're knocking Catholicism, Christianity, whatever the situation may be. I'm not knocking it. I understand. I'll be the first one to tell you religiously Jesus does exist. But spiritually, I can't confirm that because you're only trying to prep me to die and believe in something that no one can confirm, anyways. You know, so I'm gonna go on what works for me spiritually. I don't need the fear, the indoctrination of fear. I don't need that. I don't. What's the difference from going to church on Sundays? Let me do it like this: a pastor take your money, right? They give you a good word and take up offering, but us spiritual people, when we do good deeds, what do we say? Oh, I don't want nothing back. I'll get mine back from my higher power. I'll get my blessing back in return. So we're not accepting anything. That's why I was asking, does it breed hypocrisy? A pastor is going to take money from you. They will be mad at you if you don't believe the same thing, if you speak against what they believe. They will side with someone else in the church because that person has been there longer, or that person has a more sorrowful story than what you're telling. So they cast that judgment. But when you walk alone spiritually and you're connected to God and you're tapped in, it's a whole different ballgame. You don't have to worry about that hypocrisy. You don't have to worry about that judgment. You don't have to worry about how you're going to be received by another human being who's just as imperfect as you. All you have to worry about is that one-on-one relationship with your father, your belief system, the very thing that's carried you through. That's why I tell people, never stop doing what you were doing at the time you got your blessings, because someone found you to be fruitful. Someone found you to be faithful. Someone found you worthy enough to be blessed. Someone's telling you and giving you the confirmation. Take the floor.
Yeah, I just think that this again, this religion thing to me. Now I'm going to speak as being a black man. Okay, I do not know the origin of my culture. What we're talking about to me is American culture that's been pushed upon us to accept those principles. I have no idea what my ancestors thought about things spiritually. I would love to know that, but that's been either hidden away or buried or whatever. But I just don't want to accept. I've been taught as an American to believe and do things that way because I don't know what my people really believe spiritually, and that's what I would love to know. But I'll probably never find that out. But so I'm going to find out my own journey on the way, I guess, and figure
Uh-oh.
it out along the way.
Sage, you're more gifted. I think it's time for you to tap in because we've had this discussion, Sage and More. I think you know what we were originally, Sage and More. We weren't religious people, were we, Sage and More gifted? What were we? What do we believe in, Sage and More gifted? You there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
You see how the enemy work?
Yeah,
Yeah,
tap in, sister. Culturally, now we got to go there now. We got to go there. We weren't religious people. What did we practice? We're spiritual people. What was the spiritual? Put it in place. Put it in place. You there?
yeah, we're being sabotaged again.
Right. See, that's what
Oh,
happens. This thing getting a little bit too deep.
Yeah, a key point, and now,
Right.
yeah,
See, we were
yeah,
indoctrinated with religion for a certain purpose of brainwashing and control. You know what I'm saying? No one's going to tell that story. No one's going
mhm,
to tell that story. They'll just say that the Bible was used the wrong way. The Bible has been retranslated many of times. King Solomon was said to be a what? I'm not going to say it on here, but we all know. You know what I mean? We all know. We were spiritual people. Culturally, those islands that we come from, those countries that we come from, I'm going to let the rabbit out the bag. They practice voodoo, magic, hoodoo, all of that. All of it. That was their Jesus. That was their form of Christianity. Magic, herbs. Think you there? Sage and more gifted.
oh yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Let's
You
see.
see, spirit trying to it's trying to, interfere. It's trying to cut through. It's getting deep. It's getting deep.
Take it away.
Um,
Let's go.
the belief system, everything is not evil. Everything is not wrong. Everything is not bad. See, we have to open up our mind and see how things have been programmed to us, how it's been given to us, what has been, told for us to believe or how to look at it. Just like not judging a book by its cover. I always tell people be careful of those that you come in contact with because you don't know who you are standing in front of. You don't know how that individual, that being that's in front of you, you see the image of them. but you don't know who they really are unless you are spiritually tuned in. Then you can see beyond the physical because you don't know how gifted that individual is. You don't know the army that's standing behind them that's interceding for them. You don't know who's interceding behind the one that's interceding for them. The same thing where they have taken our cultural practices and beliefs where things actually first started, depending on where we're from. And again, this is where it separates religion from spirituality because there is no difference. See, when it comes to religion, everything is looked at as evil. But you actually go and you talk to someone who uses hoodoo. For example, voodoo is a religion. Hoodoo is a spiritual practice.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
what you do, it's how you do it and how you use it. The same thing with the foods that we pick up and we put in our body is no different. It's
Mm-hmm.
no different. But see, with religion, they make us think that everything is wrong. But if everything is wrong, then those who believe and move spiritually, no matter what their spiritual beliefs are, everything has to be done differently. And it works. But the moment you block and you put, it's like being put in a box. You're being held down because you're being forced to believe something. And then we're sitting there and we're like, not allowed to ask any questions. We're not allowed to, to learn. Isn't that what learning is supposed to be about? A wise man is always seeking knowledge. Only a fool will think that they know everything. Those are ones that are closed minded. No doors are opening for them. They're stuck in the same place. But one who is constantly seeking knowledge and wisdom is enlightened. They're able to push forward. And then people are sitting back no matter what you do. Whether you do good, guess what? They're going to talk bad about you. If you do something bad, guess what? They're going to talk bad about you. Because all they want to know is why they don't have what you have, but yet they're judging that you're doing something wrong or evil or something bad.
Right.
And what's for you is for you. And what's for them is for them. You cannot take what does not belong to you. Because let me tell you what happened. When you mess with an individual that's spiritual, you can't take what don't belong to you. Because now we speaking spiritually. See, you try to take, that's like stealing. If it's not meant for you, you don't know what to do with it. It's going to backfire. And then you going to wonder why everything that you try to do to that person, why it didn't came back on you. It's more than just the karmic effect. See, this is spiritual ties. And a lot of individuals that are spiritually gifted and spiritually connected, these are the times where the divine is now allowing those doors to open, to make those connections, where we're now able to come together in small groups. And those small groups are going to join other small groups. Because why? We're all trying to get to the same place, but we have to take a different way to get there. No matter the spiritual way that you stand in, which is your faith,
You know
and
what I'm
standing in
realizing?
it.
Do I'm gonna tell you what I'm realizing here. I'm realizing that spiritually, we are at war. You know,
Yeah.
we are at war. We have spiritual hunters out there. We have people who just want to see you fall. They'll never look at you for the person you are. There's no way you're blessed or you're serving a different God. You're giving a false doctrine. They will put a title on people like us who are completely free. Now, watch this. You have fear of voodoo, hoodoo, roots, or whatever. You know, you say that dead people can't come back when you have dead people that talk to people. You have people who have spiritual guides who can go intercede for these souls that's speaking out from the grave. Okay, we all inherit different gifts. Everyone spiritually inherits a different gift. I'm growing into an empath, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I've been having visions, you know. Big bro, you gone?
You
He left?
see, spirit. You see how you see. No, I think he got cut out. You see, it's blocking. It's getting deep.
Right.
It's interfering with the. But a lot of time, that's how it happens.
I've
That's
been
how it
having
happens.
it, but the gift of being an empath, of being spiritually connected and tapped in enough to be able to touch someone or look at someone and share their energy and know exactly what they're going through. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Because I got my own problems to deal with. I wake up trying to make sure my energy is already where it needs to be every day. So it's like, okay, God, you're putting something on me that's extra stressful because now I got to deal with my own energy. And I've got to deal with the energy of all of those around me that I come in contact with because I can feel it. I can feel it. And I started telling people, I'll show them, oh, what's wrong today? Oh, nothing wrong. Today's good. Are you sure? Because I can feel something in your spirit right now. Then the truth comes out. The truth comes out. It's happened many a times at work. Many a times, just at work alone, where they'll come back the next day and they'll be like, well, it was kind of freakish, but you're right. There was something I was holding in. And I just had someone tell me that their best friend was dismembered in North Carolina. Every day he walks in, I know exactly, what he wants. We speak to each other. We're almost buddy. And he saw me down and out, and I told him, I'm fighting spiritual demons right now. I'm trying to make sure that I maintain a positive walk. And I kept telling this brother, I said, it looks like something's bothering you today. And he looked up at me and said, it's the anniversary of my best friend who got dismembered and chopped up in North Carolina 3 years from that day. How would I know that? How? You know, you can tell when people don't love you no more. You can tell when people lying. You can feel it. You can sense it. I hope we get Big Bro back. You can take the floor, Sage, or more. Take the floor, Sage, or more.
Most definitely, like I said, like things happen to push us. In the moment that what we find those traumatic situations to come about, we have to realize that it's happening for more than what we think it is at that time. The first thing, once we learn how to be mindful, how to control our emotions, how to preserve and reserve our energy the proper way, instead of just seeing everything and focusing on the negative, learning how to humble ourselves to sit sometimes in silence and reflect and actually observe the situation of what's going on. Because again, we all have different gifts, which is why I say never judge a book by its cover because you don't know the gifts that the individual have that's standing in front of you. You don't know if they're awake or not. You don't know if they're spiritually connected or not. Now, if you're a spiritually connected individual, you know when you meet another spiritual connected
Oh, yeah.
individual.
You feel the power. You feel the
See,
power.
and another
And the
thing that
discipline.
people fail to understand, family is not just of your blood, of your DNA. It's spiritually tied. It's spiritually divine. It's spiritually written. You can have someone come into your life that will be closer to you than your own flesh and blood of your bloodline, of your family, that you know as your family. But the whole time, your spiritual family is your real actual family. We just got separated and we're just now coming back together.
Right. Right. Returning to a spirituality, a spiritual way of life, to me, it seems like a burden lifted. It feels like a lie. You know what I'm saying? It feels like the truth has been told over a lie. It feels like the closure we all look for. We go through something bad and it's like, well, I just need that closure. It feels like I've gotten my closure. Okay. It wasn't religion that got me where I was. It wasn't religion that convinced me to show my humility to the point to where God humbled me. It wasn't religion that caused God to bless me. It was my spirit. It was how I perceived what was going on in my life at that point and how I handled it through faith, through joy, through the intercedence and the manifestations of God, a divine intervention. That's where that blessing came from. Because through it all, it's like having to learn the same way you have to learn as a baby to walk and talk, and everything is gradual. It happens gradually. You have to learn as someone who's spiritually connected, someone who's spiritually tapped in. You also have to learn that there's different stages to spirituality as well. And you're never going to reach those stages until you've been humble. Being humble usually comes with being able to face your humility. You know, there's no way that you can be humble and never have gone through humility. Because humiliation leads to humbleness. The church is proud. Not all churches, but religion is proud. They're proud of the work they're doing. They're proud of the judgment that they cast. They're proud to be the family that they are. The cult, the practice. They're proud. They're proud people. There's nothing proud about spirituality. Everything is real. Everything is real. It's not a superficial pride. You know, listen, I stand for what I believe in, and I know that my life has taken off and went for the best since I opened up. When you learn how to balance being woke and conscious with being spiritual, and you break the confines of religion, you really don't know the power you're able to tap into. But if we're waiting on someone to tell us what's right, what's true, and what's real, keep waiting, because this isn't even our native tongue. So you think they're really going to tell us who our higher power is? You think they're really going to tell us spiritually what we did as a people before we were? Come on, man. This thing gets deep. This thing gets deep. But spiritually, your spirit is going to lead you to that. You have to listen. And you have to be ready for it. And everybody's not going to be called for it because everyone can't handle it.
Spirituality definitely comes with first being able to find that understanding, and that understanding is mentally preparing yourself. Because when you have gifts and you start unlocking those gifts, if you do not find a balance of your mental stability and your emotional stability, your gifts are so powerful and strong that it will lead to what they know as psychosis. They will think you are crazy, and it will lead you to be crazy out of your mind. The first thing before just doing anything is researching, learn. Don't, you have some people just, go to a religion or, some type of group that one time and they just hop into it full blown thinking it's right and wonder why they're getting steered wrong. And now here it is, you're still not even mentally stable. You haven't even balanced. There's sides to us. We have our light, we have our shadow. You have to accept both. You have to find a balance of both and able to move forward, because what you think are your weaknesses are truly your gifts that are hidden behind what you think is a flaw.
Now, here's another question for you. I know we probably have to end this shortly, but I have a question for you. Okay. How can I put this? How can I put this? Like how a pastor is in an altar. Okay, a pastor is in an altar. I don't think people understand that they can build their own altars. I don't think people understand the meaning of an altar. And here's my question. How is a pastor anointing his hands with oil and touching you, this motion of praying, communion, first Sunday? How are all these
Rituals.
How is all this symbolism and rituals different from burning frankincense, from burning sage, from working with different? Come on now, you know where I'm going. I'm just trying not to say too much. I'm trying not to say too much because I know I have subscribers who will be like, okay, well, look, I got to take a break. And I'm not trying to lose any subscribers. We're family. You know exactly what I'm saying. You know how our family is. Come on. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? When one accepts their shadow and their light and they connect, embrace it, what people say, what they think, it doesn't even bother you because you know who you are. You're embracing who you are. You're tapping into something that has been suppressed from you. Those gifts that you've had, even as a child, you have some families that have actually tried to, what I say, take what don't belong to them. Because of why? Because of their religious practices and beliefs and spirituality. Just to get on what? The throne or a level, a higher, a setting of being the high priest or the high priest. To hold a structure of command when they have not been what? Called or actually ordained to have it. And they will try to take it and they will sacrifice their own child. No different than what is written. So when we say certain things, you have to sit and think about everything within this language has been translated differently. What's the difference between a prophet and a psychic? Ain't they doing the same thing?
Exactly.
And you have some prophets that are what? Leading you astray and they're false prophets. So that means what the church is teaching them as far as just saying, oh, they're a psychic, they're evil, they're doing wrong. Well, what about that prophet that just sat here and lied to you just to take your money or to keep you held down? What's any different than you doing that ritual on the first Sunday representing his blood and his flesh, but you're going to talk down on someone who's doing the same ritual when they get up every morning and they're manifesting the same things that they want to come every single day, 369.
You know
The
what just
power
came to
of
me?
what we say.
You know what just
Yeah.
came to me? And this might sew it up. See, this is how I know we're tapped in. And I know we got to close this out, but here's what just came to me. Have we ever saw an Indian in church? Have you ever saw an Indian, a Native American, in I'm talking about full blown, one who lives on a reserve, one who knows exactly what the confines of their spirituality is, their beliefs. They're not religious. They're spiritual.
They're spiritual.
They're spiritual.
Yeah.
I've never, Big Bro, you back?
Yeah, yeah, they were being programmed, man, for a while. Native Americans, they were sent to like schools and being taught to be Christians, man. It was sad to see that, but I read a book about that, and they were being programmed to be European Americans, man. It was sad.
Right. So if they're tribal people, and we know from the little research that we have access to that we were tribal people, then I just gave you the blueprint. Tell me one time you seen a Native American in a church cult, in a religious cult. No, they worship different. Listen, they're spiritual people. They do rain dances. It's all kind of stuff that they go through tribally and spiritually, and it works for them. If it didn't work for them, why are they so protected? Why they have their own government? Why are they free from this country's police system? You know what I'm saying? Why do they have their own land? Why are they protected? They're indigenous. Look how God spiritually is protecting the indigenous. And you want to tell me that it's based on religion? That I better believe this before I die or else? Come on, man.
Yeah, and that's my question, man. How can we get that free to get back to our spirituality, or is that lost forever? Is it just, gone forever? We'll never know what that
We got to
was.
do the same thing they do. We got to just believe just because. We got to just believe just because. How many people are doing the same thing, going to church for years, and still has not spiritually elevated? You are still sitting in the same pew you were sitting in when you first started this church. And it got so bad with me being in church after a few years, when you open your Bible on that specific, if it's Thanksgiving of 2020, and you go to this church 3 years later and it's Thanksgiving of 2024, 23, or whatever, it's still gonna be the same message. It's already marked in your Bible. You know how much stuff in the Bible they don't speak on? Real talk. My Bible right now is filled with, and every Sunday I can predict what you're going to talk about, so I know whether I'm going to show up or not. Real talk. A black cat is bad. 666 is bad, but it's the genetic makeup of melanin. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons make up melanin. Black people are hostile, but we've got to cry out to this indoctrinated European religion. That's the belief system y'all give us. The Indians are showing you. The West Africans are showing you. The Haitians are showing you. Jamaica is showing you. Come on, man. We are Americanized. We've missed it. Now, do places in West Africa believe in Christianity and Jesus? Yes, but it's secondary to their magic and their voodoo. Piggyback. Somebody holler back.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it. Because what people fail to understand, just because of a title, if you're doing it the wrong way and you're telling somebody it's right, but it's wrong, you don't think it's going to come back on you? Either way it goes, there's a price to pay for everything. Just because you call it something different doesn't mean that that's what it is.
Exactly. It's the understanding you want people to have in order to corral that fear. You know, that's what it is. They want us all corralled in fear, afraid to think out of the box, afraid to think out of the box. How many years? How long have people been waiting on all this stuff to happen? And they'll still tell you we're in the last days, we're in the end times. Well, people have been saying that for years. Times are changing, is what it is. Times are changing. That's why people aren't gravitating towards the church anymore. They're not gravitating towards religion anymore. People are looking for a new way of life, a new belief system, something that works, something that agrees with them, something where they don't have to be surrounded by hypocrites who are going to judge them based on what you're wearing or how long you've been a part of this religious organization or, come on, man. How can you grow if you can't ask a question?
Well, religion is not supposed to make you grow. Because if you grow, you outgrow your spiritual leader. You outgrow the church, you walk away. That's their money. It turns back into what? A business. So they're not looking at, oh, let me help save this individual. Let me help, get this person where they need to be, spiritually. That's originally what it's supposed to be. But then you turn into power and control. Tap into yourselves. Understand the power that you have within yourself. And we ask, how can we get there? We're already there. Doing what we're doing right now, the divine is already working things out to connect to what? Our soul ties, our soul family. We're not lost. It's just time. And we're already building, the spiritual community is building a lot faster than what people realize. But because of what we're pushing, because of the mission, there's a lot of things we have to be careful what we do and how we say and how we do it. Because what? If we interfere too much with their mission and what they're trying to do, and we waking up, standing in what we're supposed to do to save and enlighten ourselves to get where we're supposed to be, they're coming in hard on us. There's so many of us that are out there. But what happened? The moment if they see you connecting, especially now that everything is, electronic technology, they mess with the algorithms. They're watching everything that you do. They affect your numbers. When you start growing too fast for them and you're giving and dropping too many gems, too much knowledge, you don't think they're going to come after you?
Oh, they
But
definitely.
see, as spiritual individuals, we have already signed that agreement that we're standing in our spirituality because why? It's already been written for us. We're just waking up to it. We're just remembering. We're just not remembering. So that's why we're asking questions. That's why we're making those connections. But one thing you don't have when you walk in spirituality is fear. We have nothing to fear. We have everything to gain, but we have nothing
Careful.
to fear.
Careful. They're going to call us a narcissist. Be careful. We're going to be called a
Hey,
narcissist.
one
They
thing,
think
don't
we
judge
want
a
to be
book by its
God.
cover.
Well, they
But
fear
didn't
the
he say
power
he
being
made
taken
you in
away
his
from them.
image?
Exactly. Exactly. Every time I hear the word narcissist, I laugh because it's always used by people who are the narcissists and they don't realize it. It's always the people who don't apologize. It's always the people who push their agenda. It's always the people who really only care about you because of the benefit they get from you. It's not genuine. It's about what you can do for them.
Well,
Those are your narcissistic individuals.
well, not always. Not only just could be your narcissistic, they could be your what's the word? Help me.
Your black cloud, your
Help
bad
me.
luck.
Those spiritual oh my
Spiritual blockage.
no. They're out to get you.
I gotta let it come to you. I gotta let it come to you. I gotta let it come to you.
Oh god. Be careful of you have energy vampires out here. You have spiritual people that are actually set up to spiritually seek spiritual individuals out to stop them from proceeding on their mission, to block them,
To sabotage them, yes.
to literally round us up, to block us.
So, can a spiritual person continue to speak freely? Will there be some fear arising in some spiritual people?
I'm gonna lose
One
some
thing about
followers.
us,
I'm gonna lose some followers just based on this conversation that we're having. But I'm not worried about what I'm losing. I'm worried about what I'm gaining because I'm gonna gain numerous amounts of followers who believe this. I have people call me all the time who believe the same thing. Tell you, I'm not a fan of organized religion and that cult, but I'm a spiritual person. I believe that I am made in the likeness and the image of God, and I believe that it is vitally important to walk in that way. Everything I do has to be in accordance with, and it has to resemble God Himself, not a written doctrine, not a written doctrine, okay, not a doctrine, but God Himself. Because if we're made in the image and the likeness of God, then that means that His Spirit is upon you. It's not hard to walk in the likeness and the image of God. You know,
spiritual hunters, be careful of your spiritual hunters. Like they say, you have those wolves that show up in sheep's clothing. There's no difference. Be aware of those that are spiritual hunters. They will portray to be something that they are not, to get close to you, to stop you from your mission, and it will be the closest ones to you
who I've been
in
going
all
through, haven't
shapes
I?
of form.
Who I've been going through, haven't I? Ran into so many spiritual hunters. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the energy has been crazy. The
And that
energy
we're
has
in a
been
shift right now. Every spiritual individual have their time of where they are operating and receiving information at different times. Everyone's not doing it at the same time. Everybody's doing it at different times. But when you feel the energy shift around you and you start to see, don't just look at everything that's bad that's happening as something that is wrong that you're doing. You're not doing anything wrong. What is happening, you are being pushed to be elevated, to be at your higher self, to be great. Everything is not a punishment. Everything is not. Now, this is when you are able to sit back and reflect. When I say learn to reserve your energy so you can use it in a different way, you'll be surprised of the things that you will receive. But be careful of the spiritual hunters that come before you. They will try to come in like-minded as you, but trust your intuition. Your spirit will never lead you wrong. Your spirit
I
ain't
say,
gonna
I
lie to
say,
you.
Can you close this out? Q, got to get off the line in about 2 minutes here. Can you close this out?
Yes, sir. Actually, you want to close this out in prayer, big bro? You brought us in prayer. You want to close this out?
All right. Thank you for this kind of dialogue amongst each other, freely and openly. Thank you for the technology working most of the time. We praise you allow us to speak freer this time without any interruptions and continue this discussion amongst the three of us and even more, bring more into the fold and watch over and guide them as they try to become their spiritual self. I pray for these two people in the room with me right now. Watch over and guide them, the spiritual strength, and guide them into the day tomorrow, the next day, and the day after that. Amen.
Yes, sir. Thank you much. And be blessed.
Take care.
Sure.
I say we are out. Y'all subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the platform.